Hey, this is the how to set up your MIDI automation for your Suri lathe. For this bit, you're going to need a metric 3 Allen key and a metric 2.5 Allen key. Obviously, you take that little lever off first. You can see me struggling away with that bit there, but eventually it comes off. It's not too difficult. And then the little rest that it sits on, again, that's a 3mm Allen key. Pull that guy out. Super easy so far. This is all done with the head in the down position. So obviously you want to move the head off the cutting area of the plastic and drop it beside your turntable. You get your servo out and your little bracket with the thumb screw. It's best to do that one of those little grub screws up first, just so you know your shaft isn't moving around too much, and then add that thumb screw after. And that's pretty much all you need to do to get the servo installed, and we'll go into how to calibrate that later. Then you need a 10mm socket or spanner. Just undo this bolt at the top, and we do this so that we can put a little bracket in that holds the servo wire out of the way and doesn't get caught up in the head moving around. There it is. So nip that up, and we'll stick the wire for your servo through that bracket a bit later on. And of course, all of these parts are 3D printed, so you don't want to put like loads and loads of pressure on them. They're not amazingly strong. They're strong enough to do their job, but particularly things like the limit bracket, like it's got another thumb screw which you tighten up. You don't have to put loads of pressure on it. None of this stuff is under much strain, so we just nice and snug is good enough. Here, you've got to stick that bolt in. That's the bolt that operates the limit switch. Stick your wire through, and then your servo is now installed. Here we go. Push your limit bracket on until you hear it click up against your bolt there. Now we're going to install the parts you need for the motor and the magnetic coupling. This little disc here that we're unscrewing, we're going to need that later. So we'll take the big black handle off first, then we'll unscrew the little handle out of that locking disc, and we'll then use that to lock on the lathe side of the magnetic coupling. Again, it doesn't have to be super tight, it's just got to be sort of snug. Now we're going to adjust the height of the motor. So the reason why we have 2 bolts in there is so that we can do this adjustment. You can also undo the nut directly under the bracket that holds the motor on, and if your bench isn't quite flat, you can adjust it. You can sort of tilt adjust it up. I think it's up to about 10 degrees. Here is the breakout box. Now the only wire that you can actually get in backwards here is the one for the servo. So I've got the motor and the limit switch in there, and I'm just plugging in the servo now. That can go in upside down. So the 2 white dots are supposed to meet. Now if you put that in upside down, it just won't work. It won't wreck it, it just won't work. So if your servo doesn't work once you've plugged everything in, you know that you've got that round the wrong way. So next we raise the head, and using the manual screen, we will nudge it over so that the stylus is over the plastic, And before we lower the head for the first time, we need to adjust the counterweight. Now we've just added 85 grams to the front, so we're just going to pull some of the counterweight back a bit so that you don't get an extra 85 grams dumped onto your stylus when you lower it for the first time. This just takes care of your diamond, really. And then, using the manual cut screen, lower the head and adjust your counterweight as you would normally, using the head up and down instead of the lever that you've just removed. And that's it.